Usually when we talk about a fictional universe, there's this expectation of boundaries, right?
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Like you read a fantasy novel and there's a map in the front, and the author kind of acts like a tour guide, pointing out all the landmarks and the rules of the world.
Yeah, you get a glossary, you get a timeline, you know what to expect.
Exactly. But then you step into the world of online, user-generated, real-time serialized storytelling.
Oh, man.
And suddenly that blueprint is just, it's on fire. It is absolute chaos.
It really is.
And today we're looking at a narrative landscape that is exactly that. Specifically, the wildly complex lore of the Speak the Show and the Spring 2 7832 podcast online entertainment universe.
Yeah, which is a mouthful, but it's just a fascinating ecosystem.
It is. We've got this massive stack of transcripts from a series of back-to-back broadcasts, and they are just overflowing with intense promos, title changes, backstage brawls, and all these weird meta-level production announcements. So, okay, let's unpack this, because our mission for this deep dive is to map out these really intricate storylines, the character factions, and like the real-world broadcast stakes of this massive brawling show.
Yeah.
Where the cast literally ranges from animals to royalty.
It does. And treating this chaotic narrative with the seriousness of a complex cinematic universe is really, well, it's the only way to actually parse what's happening.
Yeah, you kind of have to take it seriously to understand it.
Exactly, because beneath all the screaming and the server lag and the completely bizarre character names, we're looking at some really intense recurring themes here.
Right.
I mean, we have stories of fierce loyalty, blinding revenge, and the ultimate threat within this specific digital ecosystem, which is banishment. Banishment from the show itself.
Oh, yeah.
It's a universe that operates on these primal, high-stakes rules, but it's all rendered in an environment where the medium itself often seems to be, literally buckling under the weight of the story.
Buckling under the weight.
Yeah.
I love that. Because to even comprehend the stakes of the current broadcast cycle, we have to start with the massive real-world news that just dropped on this entire production.
Right, the hiatus.
The hiatus.
Yeah.
The producers of the Spring 2 7832 shows announced a temporary production-wide break, so a massive hiatus. The final show, before they pull the plug, is scheduled for August 31st.
Okay.
And then the entire operation goes completely dark until November or maybe December of 2026.
Yeah, which is a huge chunk of time in the digital content world.
It's an eternity.
Yeah.
But they added this caveat that completely scrambles how we usually think about television or streaming seasons. They explicitly stated that Season 2 of Speak the Show and Season 3 of the podcast are not ending this year.
Right, which is wild.
They're scheduled to continue, uninterrupted as a single season, all the way to the end of 2027.
I mean, which is an incredibly ambitious commitment for any kind of serialized media, let alone an independent digital production running on what we can only assume is a highly stressed combination of game engines and live streaming software.
Right, exactly. Like they are redlining their computers to make this happen.
Oh, absolutely.
But hold on, because right after announcing this massive 2-year vision, they immediately pull the plug on something else.
Yeah, the spin-off.
The spin-off series.
Yeah.
Season 1 of the reaction episode has been permanently suspended.
Just gone.
Just gone. They closed it down, stopping dead at episode 11. Which, okay, I gotta ask, why would a creator commit to keeping the main season going until 2027, but instantly kill off the reaction show?
It's a great question.
Is it like a major television network renewing a flagship show for a 2-year run, but they cancel the post-show wrap-up segment? Is it just creative burnout from rendering all these assets? Or are they trying to, I don't know, consolidate the lore?
Well, what's fascinating here is how this functions from a pure world-building perspective. Because when you run a single season until the end of 2027, you're allowing for this unprecedented, really slow-burn storytelling.
Right.
You don't have to hit the reset button or wrap up all your feuds for some arbitrary season finale. You can let these grudges just simmer for years.
Oh, see.
But killing the reaction show, that feels highly strategic to me.
Really? How so?
Well, a reaction show inherently breaks the fourth wall. It requires the creators or the avatars to step outside the universe to talk about the universe.
Oh, right, like taking the mask off.
Exactly. By eliminating it, they are forcing the audience to stay submerged purely in the fiction. There's no release valve anymore.
Wow. I see the logic there, but part of me wonders if it's also just, a bandwidth issue.
How do you mean?
Like, managing a live render digital universe with dozens of avatars is a logistical nightmare.
Oh, for sure.
If you're going into a hiatus to retool, Dropping the meta commentary show just saves you server space. It saves you rendering time.
Yeah, that's very true.
You can just focus all your computing power on the main event instead of having avatars sit around talking about what just happened.
That's a very practical way to look at it. And in user-generated content, the practical limitations of the software often completely dictate the narrative direction.
Yeah, it's like the budget constraints of a movie.
Exactly. But regardless of whether it's a technical limitation or a creative choice, the result is exactly the same. The lore becomes the only thing that matters.
Right.
The characters are no longer looking at themselves. They are entirely focused on destroying each other.
And that impending hiatus is exactly what is driving the sheer panic in the current storylines.
Oh, yeah. You can feel it in the transcripts.
You really can. You have all these characters who know the lights are going out on August 31st.
Yeah.
They are scrambling to settle scores and claim titles before the freeze, which leads us directly into the bloody, completely chaotic quest for the Metal Co-host title.
Right, the main event.
The transcripts detail this incredibly grueling match between the defending champion, Mooncloud, who is sometimes referred to as Mean Clown,
Yep.
and the challenger, Ludwig. And as we know, this was an unsectioned match.
Yeah, an unsectioned match, a stipulation that essentially strips away the software's built-in rules.
Right.
There are no disqualifications, no countouts. It's just pure, unsanctioned anarchy within the digital space.
And the atmosphere they built for this specific brawl is just wild. The entire arena is bathed in red light. But what really stands out is how they are interacting with their digital environment.
Yeah, they aren't just using regular moves.
No, they aren't just executing traditional grappling animations. They're using the production equipment itself as weapons.
Which is brilliant.
It is. They are throwing boxes, they're smashing monitors, driving each other into keyboards. And while all this is happening, the match experiences severe technical difficulties.
Yeah, the transcripts mention all these issues.
We're talking glitches, lag, broken microphones.
And this raises an important question about the nature of the medium itself.
Okay, what do you mean?
Well, are those technical difficulties a genuine failure of the broadcast software struggling to keep up with the rapid inputs of an unsectioned match?
Oh, right. Because
Well-
they're doing so much all at once.
Exactly. Or are they an intentional narrative device programmed in by the creators?
Oh, man, that's a good point.
Right. Because in a digital universe, reality itself glitching out during a high-stakes battle adds this incredible layer of surrealism.
Yeah, it really does.
The red lighting combined with the destruction of the very technology used to broadcast the show, I mean, it makes the fight feel apocalyptic. They are literally breaking the world they live in.
That is so true. I lean toward it being a bit of both, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you push a physics engine hard enough with that many overlapping hitboxes from smashed monitors and flying keyboards, and it's going to lag.
For sure, it's going to start stuttering.
But the creators are clearly leaning into that lag to sell the brutality. It's like slow motion in a movie.
Right.
And the climax of this match is just a grueling war of attrition. At one point, Mooncloud nearly retains the title. He get a 2.99 count.
The 2.99 count is so significant.
It is. Because in a digital engine where a referee's count is usually a rigidly timed animation, getting a 2.99 implies an incredibly precise kick-out mechanic.
Exactly.
It's the absolute mathematical limit before defeat. You have to hit the button at the exact millisecond.
It creates this incredible tension, the closest of close calls, dictated by milliseconds of server response time.
Right. But Ludwig manages to overcome it. He secures the 3 count, dethrones Mooncloud, and becomes the new Metal Co-host.
A huge moment for that avatar.
Massive. And he starts celebrating alongside his allies, Morton and the returning Gowser Jr.
Right, who is also known as Bosie Jr.
Yes, Bosie Jr., who apparently just came medically cleared to appear in the render again.
Which is hilarious, the idea of an avatar being medically cleared to be rendered.
I know. But it's this massive moment of triumph. But it lasts for maybe, 60 seconds? Because out of nowhere, a character simply named Witch interrupts the broadcast.
Oh, this part is amazing.
And it descends into absolute unpredictable madness. Witch kidnaps Bowser Jr., literally dragging him behind a box out of the camera's view.
Yeah, out of the rendering field.
Right. And then Witch attacks Ludwig, and then Witch hits Morton with a weapon described literally in the sources as the Big Ben, the clock tower from London.
Yes, the introduction of the Big Ben asset.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting, because I read that transcript 3 times.
I don't blame you.
Yeah, they hit someone with Big Ben.
Yeah.
Is this metaphorical? Like, is it a miniature souvenir replica someone imported into the game engine?
Right, like a small object.
Yeah. Or are we dealing with literal reality-bending magic where someone is swinging a massive British landmark like a baseball bat?
Well, the ambiguity of the asset scale is what's so fascinating there. Because given that the character is named Witch, and we've already seen reality glitching out with the red lights and the server lag.
True.
We can't rule out the possibility that they somehow scaled up a 3D model of the actual clock tower to use as a melee weapon.
That would just completely break the physics engine.
Oh, completely. It would cause massive clipping issues. But even if it's a miniature replica, the imagery is profound.
Yeah, how so?
Well, hitting someone with the ultimate symbol of time itself right before the show goes on, a massive 3-month hiatus, time is literally being weaponized against the champion.
I have to stop you there.
Okay.
Because weaponizing time sounds incredibly poetic, but let's look at the context here.
Fair enough.
This is a universe where a guy named Brain Elephant is running around.
Right.
I highly doubt the creator sat back and thought, yes, I shall use Big Ben to symbolize the impending temporal freeze of the winter hiatus.
You think so?
I think it's way more likely that they just found a free 3D asset of Big Ben in some digital library, thought it would be hilarious to use as a blunt object, and programmed Witch to swing it at Morton's head.
I mean, that's entirely possible.
It's beautiful, chaotic, amateur logic.
I wouldn't dismiss the subconscious choices of digital creators so quickly, but point taken. The sheer absurdity of the weapon choice definitely highlights the anything-goes nature of an unsectioned environment.
Right, there are no rules, so why not a clock tower?
Exactly. But regardless of the creator's intent, the narrative pacing is undeniably effective.
Oh, for sure.
The heroes achieve their ultimate hard-fought goal, they win the title, and their moment of triumph is instantly and brutally stolen by an unpredictable antagonist using a completely nonsensical weapon.
It's like a tragedy.
It is. You can't just win and be happy in this universe. The moment you hold a title, you become a target for forces you can't even begin to predict.
Which is a perfect segue into how this chaos is bleeding down into the rest of the roster.
Right, it's not just the main event.
Exactly. Because the main event isn't the only place where things are falling apart. The mid-card title picture is deeply affected by these backstage vendettas, too.
Yeah, let's talk about the mid-card.
Let's look at the Metal Mega XS title. So, a character named Iggy was scheduled to fight Alien for this championship. It's a huge opportunity for the Avatar.
A career-making match, really.
Yeah, but backstage, or, whatever the digital equivalent of backstage is in this software.
The pre-render lobby.
Yeah, the pre-render lobby.
Yeah.
An antagonist named Brain Elephant viciously attacks Larry and Lemmy.
Right.
Now, Larry and Lemmy are part of Iggy's family. They're his faction.
Which makes it a very targeted strike. Brain Elephant is specifically exploiting the relational dynamics programmed into these characters.
So Iggy is faced with the choice. Go out to the ring, fight Alien, and potentially win a major championship. Or abandon the match to save his faction members.
It's a classic dilemma.
It is. It's like a superhero dilemma. Do you save the city or do you save the person you love?
Right.
Iggy voluntarily cancels his own title match. He runs backstage to save Larry. And the tragic part...
Oh, it's brutal.
He gets absolutely destroyed by Brain Elephant in the process. He loses every...
And there are even mentions in the source material of a Brain Elephant twice potentially being involved, which just completely compounds the assault.
Wait, Brain Elephant twice? Like a second one?
Yeah. The idea of a Brain Elephant twice implies either a cloning glitch, a duplicated character model, or just a second player logging in with a similar avatar to overwhelm the system.
Oh man, like a coordinated griefing attack.
Exactly. But the narrative result is that the championship picture is left in complete disarray.
Yeah, because Alien is just standing in the ring without an opponent.
Right. And the producers have to scramble in real time and promise Alien a mystery opponent for the following week.
Which logistically means someone behind a keyboard is frantically trying to design or import a new character model before the next broadcast.
Probably staying up all night in Blender just trying to get it ready.
Totally. But looking at Iggy's choice, he chooses family over the belt, and he loses both. It's so sad.
It is a compelling dilemma, but it also highlights how personal vendettas in the Speak the Show universe consistently outweigh institutional accolades.
Oh, that's a good point. The titles matter, But the grudges matter more.
Exactly. The title belts give you status, but the blood feuds are what actually drive the server traffic.
Wow.
If we synthesize these events, we see how intensely interconnected this digital ecosystem is.
Right.
One action, Brain Elephant's backstage attack, it ruins a title match, it creates a mystery opponent scenario, and it leaves multiple characters sidelined with digital injuries.
It really shows how fragile the booking is. It's a house of cards.
It truly is.
And we see that fragility again with the Metal Admin title.
Yes, the Metal Admin title.
While all this other chaos is happening, a character named Unihorse, sometimes referred to as Unihorn, interrupts a broadcast to call out Wendy.
Right.
Unihorse wants a shot at the Metal Admin title. Now, this is a bold move, considering Unihorse was recently on the receiving end of a brutal attack by a character named Cat.
It's an incredibly risky play. I mean, Unihorse's character model has likely taken virtual damage. Their stats are probably debuffed, yet they are still demanding a title shot.
Right. And Wendy, who isn't even physically rendered in the scene for the initial call-out.
Right, she's off screen.
Yeah, she eventually accepts the challenge. They set up a one-on-one match for next week, which, crucially, is that final broadcast on August 31st, right before the winter hiatus.
Yeah, the tension is just peaking.
Everyone is desperately trying to secure their position before the server freeze. But what I don't get is Wendy's strategy here.
Why is that?
Well, accepting that challenge, knowing Unihorse is already a target for other antagonists like Cat, seems like a massive risk. Why invite that chaos into your title defense right before a break?
Well, because holding a title isn't just about winning a match. It's about navigating the political minefield of the roster.
Okay, like backstage politics.
Exactly. Wendy likely knows that if she declines the challenge, she looks weak heading into a 3-month hiatus.
Oh, I see.
And in a user-generated community, perception is everything. You have to maintain your heat, your relevance.
You don't want people forgetting about you during the break.
Exactly. By accepting a match against a damaged opponent, she might be calculating that it's an easy win to solidify her reign before the break.
That makes total sense. It's a calculated flex.
It really is.
But that political minefield we're talking about is largely defined by the ultimate threat in this universe.
Yeah, the real danger.
It's not just about losing a title or taking a virtual beating. The true terror, the existential dread hanging over every single avatar in this game, is banishment.
Yeah.
This show relies heavily on suspensions and bans as narrative tools.
This is where the digital nature of the universe becomes hyper-literal. A suspension isn't a storyline firing where a wrestler goes to train in Mexico for a few months,
Right. So what does this all mean for the characters? Let's look at the animal faction warfare to understand how this is applied.
Okay, yeah.
You have Mouse, Penguin, and Penguin Jr. teaming up to absolutely decimate a character named Lion, who's sometimes called Mini Lion or Tiger.
Right.
Lion is furious. Why? Because his main ally, Panda, has already been suspended. Panda is gone from the server.
Yeah, locked out.
And Mouse actively mocks Lion about this, claiming he's only attacking him specifically because Panda isn't there to protect him.
It's predatory behavior based entirely on server access.
Yeah.
They waited for the admin to issue the suspension for the herd to thin out, and then they struck the remaining vulnerable asset.
It's basically cyberbullying within the lore.
It is.
But then you have situations where the characters start rebelling against the admins themselves.
Oh, this is the best part.
Look at Gorilla and Nightmare. Gorilla attacks Nightmare backstage because Gorilla felt he was disrespected by a promotional poster.
Literally, a JPEG caused a brawl.
A JPEG. So the Bear general manager, who acts as the in-universe authority figure, tries to intervene.
Poor Bear GM.
Yeah, he tries to establish order and set up a standard normal match. But Gorilla refuses.
Yeah.
He demands a street fight. And when the Bear general manager pushes back, Gorilla and Nightmare basically ignore him.
They just bypass him completely.
They start brawling anyway, and the chaos gets so out of hand that they physically take the general manager down.
Right.
The authority figure's avatar is incapacitated, and the producers are forced to literally mute the microphones just to stop the broadcast of the carnage.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the Bear general manager represents the fragile institutional order of the show itself.
Yeah.
He represents the rules, the schedule, the physical limitations of the software. The fact that the characters are now completely ignoring his mandates and physically attacking him shows that the universe is descending into total, irreversible anarchy.
Like the inmates running the asylum.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The avatars are rejecting their programming.
Well, I don't know if they're rejecting their programming so much as the users controlling them are just testing the limits of what they can get away with before the admin drops the hammer.
That's fair, yeah.
And we see the management leaning into it out of pure desperation with the feud between Roy and Crommy Cat.
Right, Crommy Cat's return.
Crommy Cat just returned from a suspension. He just got his server access back. And what is the very first thing he does?
He immediately attacks Roy.
Immediately, sparking a massive brawl that gets so violent it physically breaks the broadcast computer.
Which is incredible. The violence is bleeding from the fictional narrative into the literal medium.
Right.
The characters are breaking the tools used to render their own existence. It's a brilliant meta-narrative concept.
So what does the exasperated bear general manager do? The computer is broken. The order is gone. He officially books Roy and Crommy Cat in the last man standing match.
Yeah.
But with a massive universe-altering stipulation, the loser gets permanently banned from the show.
Not a suspension.
Not a suspension, a permanent ban. Now, this brings up a massive logistical issue for me.
What's that?
If the Bear general manager is constantly throwing around suspensions and permanent bans for every backstage brawl, how does the roster survive?
It was a war of attrition.
Yeah, if everyone gets deleted, who is left to perform? It feels like an existential threat to the show's actual ability to operate.
It is an existential threat, and that's the point of maximum tension here.
Sorry?
In a user-generated universe, a ban is the equivalent of character death. It's absolute erasure.
Right, you just cease to exist.
When the Bear general manager makes a loser leaves town match, he is weaponizing the digital nature of their reality.
Wow.
He's saying, if you break my broadcast computer, I will revoke your IP address. I will delete your character model from the server.
That is so intense when you put it like that.
It raises the stakes infinitely higher than a standard wrestling match. It's not about pride or championship gold anymore. It's about the fundamental right to exist within the narrative space.
Yeah.
It's a very modern, very digital form of capital punishment.
Framing it as digital capital punishment really puts into perspective just how frantic the energy is right now on this server.
Oh, everyone is fighting for their lives, literally.
To summarize the massive amount of moving parts we've waded through today, we have a sprawling, live-rendered digital universe that is about to go on a month-long hiatus. We have a new metal co-host who won a grueling, glitch-filled street fight, only to be instantly attacked by a witch wielding a potentially massive clock tower.
Still blows my mind.
Right. We have mid-card titles being vacated out of sheer faction loyalty, resulting in digital beatdowns.
Yeah.
And we have multiple blood-soaked feuds culminating in avatars physically attacking the game admins, leading to permanent banishment matches.
The density of the storytelling, the layering of character motivations, and the constant friction with the technical limitations of their platform, it is just staggering.
It really is. And you might be asking, why does this matter to us? Why spend this much time diving into the lore of Speak the Show and the Spring 2 7832 podcast?
Right.
Because it is an absolute masterclass in highly invested serialized digital storytelling. It proves that online creators, using relatively accessible user-generated formats and game engines, can build incredibly complex, overlapping narratives.
Oh, absolutely.
They don't need a massive Hollywood budget to create compelling drama. They are generating massive life-or-death stakes out of sheer imagination, exploiting technical glitches for narrative gain, and leveraging raw community engagement.
It demonstrates that the medium of the platform, the server lag, the broken mics, the threat of digital bans can become the very mythology of the story.
Right.
The bugs become features. It's a fascinating evolution of how we construct narratives in virtual spaces.
It really changes how you look at a simple server error message, doesn't it?
It sure does.
And it leaves me with one final lingering thought, one that builds on everything we've unpacked today about this digital ecosystem.
Okay, lay it on me.
We know the Speak the Show universe operates in a continuous real-time flow.
Right.
And we know these characters are currently locked in literal life-or-death, banishment-level feuds at the very end of August.
Yeah, the tensions are at an all-time high.
So what exactly happens to these avatars during the 3 months the show is off the air?
Oh, wow.
Do they just freeze in place, suspended in the game engine's memory?
Like pausing a game.
Yeah, exactly. Or, since this is a user-generated space where the creators clearly live and breathe these characters, are we going to return in December to a universe that has secretly continued to evolve, scheme, and destroy itself entirely in the dark?
Oh, man, that's a chilling thought. If the servers are still running, even without a broadcast, the game never really stops.
Something to mull over until the stream comes back online.
Imagine for a second that you have just, won the biggest championship of your entire life.
Right, the ultimate moment.
Yeah, exactly. The crowd is going completely wild. The confetti is falling. The music is swelling. You're holding this trophy high.
The classic sports movie ending.
Right. But then reality itself just starts buffering.
Oh, man.
The sky turns this violent shade of red. The audio begins skipping like it's tearing at the edges. And out of nowhere, a literal witch materializes behind you.
Naturally.
Beats you unconscious with a miniature replica of Big Ben, and then kidnaps your best friend from behind a cardboard box before the entire universe just, shuts off.
It is, it's the ultimate subversion of the victory lap. You don't just lose your moment. The actual architectural stability of your reality collapses on top of you.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today is August 24th, 2026, and we are taking a massive, honestly incredible complex stack of transcripts and raw data to explore a phenomenon that defies almost every traditional rule of narrative structure.
It really goes.
We are looking at the YouTube channel Spring27832-shows.
Yeah.
Our sources today are transcripts from recent episodes of their flagship programs. So that's Speak the Show and the Spring27832 podcast.
And we should warn people these are not normal transcripts.
No. I have to be honest, reading through these transcripts feels less like reading a script and more like deciphering a black box recording from a plane crash that happened inside a server room.
That is a very accurate description.
Characters are screaming over each other, microphones are constantly cutting out, people are being physically thrown into computer monitors. Okay, let's unpack this.
Let's do it.
Because I am purely fascinated by the sheer volume of lore operating here. We have anthropomorphic animals, virtual glitches, clowns, factions.
It's so dense.
It's all operating like a bizarre digital professional wrestling federation. But why? Why are audiences gravitating towards something so structurally unstable?
Well, I think it's because it mirrors the digital environment those audiences actually grew up in.
Okay, how so?
For a generation raised on, fragmented feeds and laggy video calls and rapidly shifting internet subcultures, a neatly wrapped 3-act Hollywood narrative can actually feel kind of artificial.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, the Spring27832 universe feels authentic, precisely because it is constantly on the verge of breaking.
Right, the chaos is the point.
Exactly. And to truly understand how this works, we actually cannot start with the plot.
We can't.
No, we have to start with the real-world architecture of the production itself.
Okay.
Because in traditional media, the production schedule is hidden, right? You don't see the camera crew, you don't think about the actors' contracts or their vacation days.
Yeah, that's all behind the curtain.
But in this universe, the line between the show and the production of the show doesn't exist at all. The real-world schedule is actively weaponized as narrative tension.
Walk me through how that actually functions in practice.
Yeah.
Because I'm looking at the biggest news in this universe right now, and it's not a championship match, it's a schedule update. The creators have announced an impending hiatus. Next week, on August 31st, the show is going dark.
Everything stops.
Yeah, they're stopping regular programming, and it won't return until sometime in November or December. How does a production delay become part of the story?
By treating it as an impending localized apocalypse.
Wow.
Think about it. When a traditional television show goes on hiatus, the characters are essentially frozen in time in a state of unbothered stasis.
Yeah, they don't know they're on TV.
Exactly. But in the Spring27832 universe, the characters are deeply aware that the hiatus is coming. It bleeds into the fiction.
So they know the end is near.
Yes. It creates this frantic, desperate pressure cooker where every single character knows their existence is about to be put on pause for months.
Oh, that's wild.
So alliances fracture faster, violence escalates, because they're literally running out of time to achieve their goals before the world turns off.
It's like the entire cast is suffering from the existential dread of their own cancellation.
That's exactly what it is.
But there is a massive contradiction here in the sources that I cannot wrap my head around.
Okay, what's that?
We have this August 31st hiatus looming, right? But at the same time, the producers have issued this bizarre official mandate regarding the year 2027.
Yes, the 2027 anomaly.
They have explicitly stated that Speak the Show Season 2 and the Spring27832 podcast Season 3 will not end this year. They're going to continue running all the way to the end of 2027.
Right.
Help me understand this pacing. How on earth does a narrative sustain a single season arc for that long? especially when they're taking a multi-month break right in the middle of it. It sounds exhausting for the viewer.
Well, it would be exhausting if we were applying traditional television metrics to it, but we have to look at this through the lens of digital lore building.
Okay, explain that.
In TV, a season is a contained, pre-planned story arc. You film it, you air it, you resolve it. But in internet-native storytelling, a season operates more like an era or an epoch in a video game.
Oh, like a server wipe kind of thing?
Sort of. The producers aren't stretching one tight script over 2 years. They are defining a specific sandbox of rules, character dynamics, and titles that will govern the universe until December 2027.
I see.
And the gaps of silence, the hiatuses, they don't kill the momentum. They actually serve as crucial incubation periods.
For the fans, you mean?
Yes. It gives the audience time to theorize, to create wiki entries, to digest the sheer density of the lore before the next wave hits.
So the silence is actually an active part of the engagement strategy.
Absolutely.
But it's not totally a safe sandbox because the universe is actively contracting in other areas.
Right, the reaction series.
Exactly. While those two main shows get this massive runway through 2027, the producers just executed another program entirely. The transcripts note that season 1 of the reaction episodes has been permanently suspended.
Just stopped.
Stopping dead at episode 11. No finale, no closure, just a kill switch.
The volatility is the point. The transcript suggests this was due to creative disagreements or just a fundamental lack of direction from the producers.
Yeah, that's what it looked like.
But rather than quietly pivoting or wrapping it up nicely, the show just stops existing. This reinforces the stakes for the audience and the characters.
It proves that nobody is safe.
Exactly. It proves that the invisible producers wielding power over this universe are ruthless. If something isn't working, it doesn't get a graceful sunset. It gets deleted.
Which brings us perfectly into the in-universe action. Because if the overarching theme is systemic instability and the looming threat of the August 31st shutdown, that tension is exploding in the main event picture.
Oh, absolutely.
The marquee storyline we have to examine is the battle for the Metal Co-host title.
It is the ultimate manifestation of that pressure cooker we just discussed.
Right.
We have Moon Clown, the defending champion, facing off against Ludwig.
And the match is declared an unsanctioned match.
Right.
No disqualifications, no countouts, street fight rules. But reading the play-by-play in these transcripts, I mean, this is not a street fight in any conventional sense.
No, because the street, in this context, is a broadcasting environment.
What do you mean by that?
Well, when you strip away the rules in a standard wrestling match, combatants introduce foreign objects like steel chairs or tables. But when you strip away the rules in a digital meta-narrative, the combatants introduce the environment itself as the weapon.
Oh, wow. So they are quite literally weaponizing the technical infrastructure.
Exactly.
Because the transcripts describe this chaotic, visceral violence where Ludwig and Moon Clown are smashing each other into monitors. Someone gets thrown entirely into a computer keyboard.
Yeah, the hardware itself is getting destroyed.
And the commentary booth is completely falling apart. The commentators aren't just calling wrestling moves, they are screaming about technical difficulties.
Right.
The screen is lagging, the lights are spontaneously turning red, the audio feeds are cutting out.
Yeah.
What is the psychological effect of presenting a climax this way? It feels like sensory overload.
What's fascinating here is the absolute synthesis of form and content.
Yeah.
By making the match unsanctioned, the narrative dictates that the referee's control has failed. The authority is gone. And in a digital space, when authority breaks down, the structural integrity of the broadcast breaks down with it.
So the glitches are the lack of rules.
Yes. The glitching isn't just an aesthetic filter applied over the top. It is the visual language of chaos. The sensory overload forces the viewer to lean in, to desperately try and make sense of the fragmented information. It demands active participation rather than passive viewing.
It's incredibly stressful.
It's supposed to be.
And amidst all this breaking machinery, there is a pinfall. The transcripts specifically explicitly document the referee's count as a 2.99 count.
The absolute closest of margins.
Right. And Ludwig gets the pin. With the help of his ally, Morton, he actually manages to dethrone Moon Clown in this absolute war zone of a studio.
Yeah.
Ludwig reclaims the Metal Co-host title.
Yes. He survives the lag, the broken monitors, the sheer physical toll.
He reaches the mountaintop. He achieves the ultimate validation within this ecosystem.
And that leads directly to the scenario you mentioned at the very beginning of our deep dive.
Oh, right. The broadcast officially ends, but the recording keeps going like a hot mic left running in a disaster zone.
Yeah.
Ludwig is celebrating. He has the medal. And then witch attacks.
It is a brutally efficient dismantling of the hero's journey.
It is terrifying. The transcript captures this frantic, almost found footage style audio where someone is screaming about Big Ben.
Because it's not a normal wrestling weapon.
No, which doesn't use a wrestling move, which uses a replica of a massive London architectural landmark as a blunt instrument to beat Ludwig and Morton into the ground.
It's just utter chaos.
And once they are incapacitated, which drags a character named Bowser Jr., often just called Jr. in the text, out from behind a box and kidnaps him.
Just snatches him.
Yeah, Jr. had just been medically cleared to return, and immediately, he's gone.
This sequence reveals the core philosophy of the Spring 2 7A32 storytelling engine, which is that triumph is an illusion. Or at best, it's a momentary pause between catastrophes. Ludwig wins the most grueling match of his life. He secures the title. But the universe structurally refuses to allow an afterglow.
But why? If you never let the hero celebrate, don't you risk alienating the audience? Don't viewers need that catharsis?
You'd think so, but they actually need intrigue more than they need catharsis, especially with a hiatus looming.
Oh, because of the August 31st deadline.
Look at the timing. This happens right before the world goes dark for months. If the show ends with Ludwig simply celebrating, the narrative tension resolves.
Right, the story's over for now.
And the audience checks out until December. But by having Witch obliterate Ludwig and kidnap a key ally the second the camera supposedly cut to black, the creators inject a massive dose of unresolved trauma into the lore.
So they have to think about it for months.
Exactly. Ludwig is now going into a months-long production break holding the championship belt, but completely broken physically and psychologically. The audience is left with a gaping wound that they will obsess over during the entire hiatus.
It's a cliffhanger built on trauma.
Very much so.
And this absolute refusal to let anything settle isn't just happening at the top of the card. Let's look at the mid-card, because there is a secondary situation happening that is fundamentally altering the trajectory of the entire roster.
Oh, this is a great storyline.
I'm talking about Brain Elephant. And according to some highly confusing notes in the transcript, potentially a secondary entity known as Brain Elephant twice.
The entity dynamics are intentionally opaque, but the outcome is crystal clear.
Brain Elephant is operating as an unstoppable force, completely divorced from the championship structures. He is on a relentless, hyper-focused campaign of violence against one specific character, and that is Larry.
Larry is having a very bad time.
Larry's just getting decimated.
Yeah.
Repeatedly, segment after segment, Brain Elephant hunts Larry down and destroys him.
Yeah.
And this forces the hand of a character named Iggy. The transcripts identify Iggy as part of the Koopa family, meaning he has a deep familial loyalty to Larry. He watches his family member getting systematically dismantled.
Which puts Iggy in a profound professional dilemma.
A massive dilemma. Because Iggy is next in line for a huge championship opportunity. He is officially booked to fight a character named Alien for the Metal Mega XS title.
A huge deal for his character.
Right. This is the culmination of his own career arc. But Brain Elephant will not stop targeting Larry, so Iggy makes a choice. He officially cancels his own championship match.
He just walks away from it.
He pulls out of the Metal Mega XS title fight against Alien entirely, just so he can focus all his energy on fighting Brain Elephant and protecting Larry. Walk me through the mechanics of a booking decision like that, because in most combat sports narratives, the title is sacred.
It is the ultimate goal.
Yeah, the title match is the sun that everything else orbits around.
And that is exactly why this decision is so brilliant from a world-building perspective. It establishes that the characters have internal motivations that supersede the artificial constructs of the show.
Oh, I like that.
Right. In a lesser narrative, Iggy would complain about Brain Elephant, but he would still dutifully show up for his title match because the script demands it.
Because it's what wrestlers do.
Exactly. But here, the familial bond overrides the corporate structure of the championship bracket.
It creates this incredible butterfly effect. Because Brain Elephant decides he has a vendetta against Larry, Iggy drops out. Because Iggy drops out, Alien, who is the reigning champion or the other contender, is suddenly left standing in the ring with no opponent.
Just waiting.
The entire division is thrown into chaos.
The systemic consequences are what make the universe feel alive. Actions aren't siloed. Alien now requires a mystery opponent for the following week.
The producers have to scramble.
Yes. So an organic blood feud has effectively forced the administration to manufacture a brand new, unpredictable event right before the hiatus. It proves that the roster can break the plans of the showrunners.
It's a living ecosystem where everything is contagious.
That's a good word for it, contagious.
The violence in one corner infects the structure of the opposite corner. And if we are talking about shifting power dynamics and contagious chaos, we have to examine the faction warfare.
We absolutely do.
Because this is where the character hierarchy completely upends itself. I want to start with the Animal Kingdom faction, because reading this section of the transcript genuinely felt like hallucinating.
It does challenge traditional archetypes, to say the least.
We have an alliance consisting of a mouse, a penguin, and a penguin junior.
Right.
These three have banded together to wage war against a lion, and also possibly a tiger or a mini lion. The transcripts get a little fluid with the taxon.
And they do.
But the core action is undeniable. The rodents and the flightless birds are systematically dismantling the apex predators. It is a complete violent inversion of the natural food chain. The lion is actually begging for help.
The lion is entirely compromised and attempts to summon a heavy hitter ally named Panda.
But Panda can't help because Panda is currently suspended. The transcripts note Panda lost a fight wrestling match, which carried a bizarre stipulation resulting in an official ban or suspension.
Right.
So the lion is getting jumped by penguins. His strongest ally is legally barred from entering the reality of the show, and he is out of options. Until a character named Doll returns.
Enter Doll.
Doll was previously suspended after a loss to the mouse. Now Doll's suspension is lifted, and she returns specifically to seek vengeance on the mouse and save the lion. The way the transcript frames this return, it's not just a person walking into a room.
No, because in this digital framework, a suspension operates on a completely different existential level.
What do you mean?
Well, it functions simultaneously as a corporate disciplinary action and a literal banishment to the void.
Oh, wow.
When Panda's suspended, Panda isn't just sitting in a locker room off camera. Panda's removed from the narrative code.
Like they don't exist anymore.
Exactly. Therefore, when Doll returns from suspension to save the lion, it carries the mythological weight of a resurrection.
That's so intense.
Doll is clawing her way back from non-existence to balance the scales of the faction war.
It's incredibly dramatic. A doll resurrecting from the void to save a lion from a penguin.
It sounds absurd when you say it out loud.
It does, and yet it works because the stakes are so high. But the Animal Kingdom isn't the only faction in turmoil. Let's look at the members' evil group.
Oh, yes.
They are experiencing a massive internal leadership crisis, and it all revolves around one of those uniquely named championships we keep seeing, the Metal Admin title.
The naming conventions of these titles are critical to understanding the psychology of the universe.
Right? We have the Metal Co-host and the Metal Admin. A character named Unihorse decides they want that Metal Admin title.
Bold move.
But the title is currently held by, or at least associated with, Wendy, who acts as the de facto leader of Members Evil.
Yes.
The transcripts describe Wendy's presentation as incredibly intimidating. Her entrance theme literally features lyrics about pouring coffee black as night and keeping deep secrets locked away. She projects this aura of absolute, untouchable control.
And Unihorse shatters that aura simply by demanding an opportunity.
Wendy tries to brush it off. She ignores the challenge. She disrespects Unihorse. But in the Spring 2 78302 universe, disrespect isn't just an emotion, it is a physical catalyst.
It always leads to violence.
The moment Wendy dismisses the challenge, Unihorse initiates a violent, sprawling brawl. They are tearing up the stage, and the sheer physical reality of the fight forces Wendy's hand.
She can't ignore it anymore.
Right. Mid-brawl, she is forced to yell out her acceptance. She agrees to put the Metal Admin title on the line in a one-on-one match for the following week.
If we connect this to the broader architecture we've been discussing, you can see how these specific titles operate.
How so?
The pursuit of administrative authority drives every conflict. A title named Metal Admin implies that the winner doesn't just get a shiny belt. They gain administrative privileges over the faction or perhaps over the narrative itself.
Like they become a moderator.
Exactly. In a digital world where suspensions mean erasure, holding the title of admin or co-host is a matter of digital survival. That is why they're willing to destroy their own factions to possess them.
Okay, this brings me to a massive question.
I think I know what it is.
We have unsanctioned street fights breaking the broadcast feed. We have rogue elephants destroying championship brackets. We have cross-species gang warfare and factions tearing themselves apart for administrative rights.
Complete chaos.
The inmates are completely running the asylum. Who is actually supposed to be in charge of this universe? Who is paying the server bills and trying to hold the architecture together?
That tragic, impossible burden belongs to the Bear general manager.
The Bear GM. Reading the transcripts of the Bear GM trying to do his job gave me profound secondhand anxiety.
Oh, it's painful to read.
He is attempting to enforce the rules of a traditional sports broadcast in a universe that actively, violently rejects structure.
He is the physical embodiment of the show's desperate, failing attempt to maintain its own premise.
Here's where it gets really interesting to me. The Bear GM isn't just fighting the rebellious characters on the roster. He is actively fighting the production infrastructure.
Yes.
Throughout these chaotic segments, as he is trying to make official matches or announce decisions, the producers are constantly muting his microphone. The stage around him is glitching out.
Can't catch a break.
He is physically standing on a stage, screaming into a dead mic, trying to exert authority, while the characters completely ignore him and the technical crew actively undermines him.
He represents middle management in the truest, bleakest sense.
Poor guy.
He is trapped between an utterly feral workforce and an incompetent, hostile executive production team. His authority is entirely performative.
Let's look at the specific incident between Gorilla and Nightmare. There is deep bad blood between these two.
Huge rivalry.
Gorilla is demanding a street fight. He wants to tear Nightmare apart with no rules, no limits. The Bear GM steps in. He finally puts his foot down. He looks at them and insists explicitly that this will be a normal match.
A huge mistake.
He emphasizes the rules. Disqualifications will apply. The referee's authority is absolute. He tries to force the narrative back into the neat, contained box of traditional architecture. And what actually happens?
The architecture rejects him instantly.
Literally seconds after he mandates a clean, normal match, Gorilla and Nightmare just start brawling.
Of course they do.
They ignore the referee, they ignore the bell, they completely ignore the Bear GM. They just start beating each other into the ground. And the Bear GM is reduced to just standing on the sidelines, screaming at them to stop, completely powerless to affect the reality of the show he's supposedly running.
Because the characters have realized a fundamental truth of their reality. Violence supersedes the rule book.
Wow.
If the system is glitching, if the hiatus is coming, the rules are just suggestions. And this realization pushes the Bear GM to his absolute psychological breaking point.
We see that break happen during the segment with Crummy Cat and Roy. Crummy Cat was previously banned, again, banished to the void, but makes a shocking, unauthorized return to exact vengeance on Roy for a previous slight.
Right.
The moment Crummy Cat appears, total anarchy breaks out again. They are destroying the stage, monitors are going down, the Bear GM tries to step in, tries to call for order, and he realizes it is futile. Normal matches don't work. The rule of law has failed.
So it pivots.
So he abandons his role as a sports commissioner and reaches for the nuclear option.
He books them in a last man standing match, but he attaches a deeply chilling stipulation.
Loser gets banned.
A last man standing match traditionally ends when a combatant cannot answer a 10 count. So, I want you to imagine a live broadcast, right?
Okay.
And in this broadcast, there's a character, and his name's Moon Clown.
Naturally.
Naturally, right. And he's just being beaten absolutely senseless. But not with a chair or anything normal, with a computer keyboard.
Oh.
Yeah. And the physical impact is so severe that the digital boxes around the arena are literally collapsing in on themselves.
That is quite the visual.
Right. And the whole set is just bathed in this ominous, like, blood-red light.
Very dramatic.
Extremely insane. But here is the kicker. In the background, you can actually hear the producers of the show screaming. Like genuine terror.
Like they've lost complete control of the feed.
Exactly. The video feed starts violently glitching out. It's lagging. It's freezing on these frames of just absolute carnage.
Yeah.
Until finally, somebody in the booth just screams, "Cut it!" Like, cut it, cut it. And the microphones are just forcefully killed. Dead air.
See that sequence right there? It completely shatters what you'd expect from a digital broadcast.
It really does.
Because it reads less like a polished, pre-written script and way more like the frantic transcription of an actual live riot.
Yes. We are jumping headfirst into the absolute chaos of Speak the Show and the Spring 2 7832 podcast.
It is a wild ride.
It really is. Our mission today is to untangle this dense, sprawling universe of, well, It's user-generated digital lore.
And it is dense. There is a lot to unpack.
So much. We've got raw video transcripts full of fierce rivalries, meta-narratives, and just complete technical meltdowns.
Right.
We're going to explore how some of the most compelling storytelling happening right now isn't coming from, a Hollywood writer's room.
No, definitely not.
Sometimes it's happening in these really unexpected, glitchy digital spaces.
Yeah.
So how do we even categorize what we're looking at here?
Well, the framework is really crucial to understand right off the bat.
Right, because otherwise it just sounds like nonsense.
Exactly. This isn't just random gaming, and it's not just a group of friends doing disjointed online roleplay either.
Okay, so what is it?
What we are actually looking at is a highly serialized drama, and it borrows its entire architectural blueprint from professional wrestling.
Professional wrestling. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, you have the championship belts, you have the backstage brawls, the authority figures trying and usually failing to maintain order.
Right, the classic tropes.
Exactly. But it's all filtered through this really surreal user-generated lens.
Like characters named Moon Clown and Brain Elephant.
Right. Professional wrestling logic applied to digital avatars in a purely digital space.
Okay, so before we even step into the ring, so to speak, to look at those specific characters, we have to talk about the meta-narrative.
The real-world structural drama.
Yes, the stuff happening behind the scenes. Because according to these transcripts, the network behind this whole universe, Spring 27832, they just dropped a massive bombshell.
They really shook things up.
Completely. They announced that their August 31st show is going to be the grand finale.
Which is a huge deal.
Huge. After that, they were going on this massive hiatus, like temporarily pausing all production.
Right. They aren't coming back until, November or December of 2026.
Exactly. And on top of that, they paired the announcement with the immediate, indefinite cancellation of their Season 1 reaction episode.
Yeah, the host in the transcript states it really bluntly.
Right. They just say, we're closing the reaction season. It's done.
It's no longer happening. But, and this is key in the same breath, they lay out this grand multi-year plan.
Yeah, they assure the audience that Season 2 of Speak the Show and Season 3 of the podcast are on the schedule to run all the way through the end of 2027.
It's a very bold scheduling move.
It is, and honestly, I have a really hard time buying this strategy.
Really? Why is that?
Well, if you think about it, if you've ever tried to build a following on YouTube, or if you've dealt with the TikTok algorithm, you know those platforms basically demand blood.
They are very demanding, yes.
You have to feed that content treadmill. Daily uploads, weekly consistency, taking 3 or 4 months off, that feels like digital suicide.
I see what you mean.
It's like a television network taking its top-rated soap opera off the air right before sweeps week.
Right, you risk losing all your momentum.
Exactly. The audience loses the thread, the algorithm totally forgets you exist, and people just move on to the next shiny object. Why risk it?
Well, the algorithm is ruthless, you're right. But what we're seeing here is actually a deliberate rebellion against it.
A rebellion? How so?
By scheduling this hard stop in August and promising a definitive endgame in late 2027, the creators are trying to shift their audience's behavior.
Shifted away from what? Passive scrolling.
Yes, they want to move away from passive scrolling and create appointment viewing.
Appointment viewing. Like the old HBO Sunday night model.
Exactly. They are treating their chaotic, user-generated content with the gravity of prestige television.
Okay, that makes sense. They're manufacturing scarcity.
Precisely.
Because in a digital landscape where content is literally infinite and usually super disposable, pulling your show off the air forces people to miss it.
It makes the content feel inherently valuable.
Right. And what about those reaction episodes they canceled?
Well, look at what reaction content actually is. It is the ultimate algorithm fodder.
Oh, 100%. It's cheap to make.
It pads out the upload schedule perfectly, but narratively speaking, it
It doesn't move the story forward.
Right. So cutting those episodes suggests a radical tightening of their creative focus.
And trimming the fat.
Yes, they are trimming the fat, so the audience is only consuming the absolute core storyline.
Okay, I can see the logic there. By manufacturing that artificial scarcity, they're guaranteeing a hungry audience when they return in the winter.
That's the plan.
But, and this is a big but, that strategy only works if the final image you leave them with is completely unforgettable.
You can't go out with a whimper.
Exactly. If you're going dark for months, you have to leave them with a cliffhanger. Or a spectacle that just burns itself into their retinas.
So what do?
They strip away all the rules for the main event.
Which is where the world building really shines in these transcripts.
Let's set the stage for this match. We have the reigning champion, Moon Clown.
Right, defending the metal co-host title.
Yes, against the challenger, Ludwig.
Although sometimes he's referred to as Ludwig in the transcripts.
Yeah, which just adds to that raw, unedited live feel. We're just rolling with the typos.
Exactly.
So the general manager comes out and makes a very specific ruling for this title defense. He declares it an unsanctioned match.
Which is a huge escalation.
Huge. There are no countouts, no disqualifications. It is effectively a street fight.
And the stakes are so high that the final hour of the broadcast goes completely commercial-free.
Right, which perfectly mimics the pacing of a massive pay-per-view event in traditional wrestling.
It really does. But let's unpack that unsanctioned label for a second.
Yeah, please do. What does that actually mean in this context?
Well, in wrestling lore, when the governing body declares a match unsanctioned, they're essentially washing their hands of whatever violence happens.
They're saying this is on you guys.
Right. They are telling the audience, we will not be held legally responsible for what these two individuals are about to do to each other.
Wow. It's like the promotion admitting this hatred is too dangerous even for our rules.
Yes. It instantly elevates a simple athletic contest into a blood feud.
And doing that right before a multi-month hiatus? That's smart.
It's brilliant. They are rewarding the audience's emotional investment with extreme consequences. Moonclown and Ludwig aren't just fighting for a prop belt anymore.
No, they're trying to end each other's digital existence.
Precisely.
And the environmental storytelling they use to convey that violence is incredible. I mentioned it at the start, but the arena is bathed in this red light.
It sets a very ominous tone immediately.
It does. And they aren't using normal wrestling weapons.
Yeah.
No steel folding chairs here.
What are they using?
The digital environment itself. The transcript describes them slamming each other into boxes, into monitors, and most violently into that keyboard.
Right, the keyboard spot.
One of the commentators actually screams, oh my God, he dropped into the keyboard. Right into the keyboard, boom! Almost the boxes collapse.
It's like workplace violence meets gladiatorial combat.
That is the perfect way to describe it. Like an IT department deathmatch.
Yeah. And the pacing of the text really shows how well they manipulate the tension during all this.
Oh, totally. Because at one point, Moonclown nearly retains the title.
Right, the referee counts to 2.99.
Okay, let's pause here for listeners who might not spend their weekends watching wrestling.
Good idea.
A near fall, that 2.99 count, is when the referee's hand is literally a millimeter away from hitting the mat for that final free count.
But the wrestler kicks out at the absolute last possible microsecond.
Exactly. It's the ultimate adrenaline spike. But how does that translate to a text transcript?
It translates through the sheer panic of the commentators.
Ah, I see.
It is a mechanic designed purely to spike the audience's heart rate. The tension builds, you think the match is decisively over.
And then it releases for a microsecond.
Right, and then violently snaps right back into the action. It exhausts the viewer, but in the best way possible.
Well, it certainly exhausts Ludwig and Moonclown. But after surviving just absolute destruction, Ludwig miraculously pins Moonclown.
He pulls it off.
He does. He wins the metal co-host title. And the transcripts describe this golden string appearing and fingers dancing on ivory keys.
Very poetic imagery for such a brutal match.
Yeah, it's this weirdly beautiful moment. And Ludwig celebrates with the character named Bowser Jr. Or just Jr.
So we have a resolution. The confetti is metaphorically falling.
Right. But, as we know with these sprawling, chaotic sagas, the moment a champion is crowned.
Is usually the exact moment a darker threat emerges from the shadows.
Exactly. The genre of the show shifts in an instant.
We move entirely away from the sports entertainment brawl.
Right. And we veer straight into survival horror.
Which is such a jarring transition for the audience.
Because the broadcast is supposed to be over. But the transcripts capture this post-show ambush happening completely off-air. A character known simply as the Witch appears.
Just the witch.
Just the Witch. And she doesn't just attack. She completely dismantles the new champion, Ludwig, and another character named Morton.
The dialogue from this moment is actually really chilling.
It is. She taunts them. She says something like, "Look at you now, this medal is mine."
And then she kidnaps Junior.
Yeah, she drags him behind a box. And then she threatens to smash someone's head into a Big Ben prop.
See, the specificity of that Big Ben prop is fantastic.
It really is.
It is the surreal detail that oddly grounds the digital chaos.
But honestly, the physical violence isn't even the most terrifying part of this sequence.
Oh, what is?
It is the meta-horror of the technical failures.
Ah, right, the glitching.
Yes. As the Witch attacks, the actual broadcast begins to break down.
The stream itself is dying.
Exactly. The producers in the booth start panicking. The text reads, did I lag it or something? What happened?
The video is glitching out.
And the microphones are forcefully muted. You have people screaming, cut it, cut it, cut it.
So when the witch attacks, she isn't just throwing punches at avatars.
No, she is weaponizing the digital infrastructure itself.
Which raises a really fascinating question about the nature of this medium.
How so?
Well, digital storytelling often utilizes these medium-specific flaws, the lag, the broken mics, the screen blackouts, as aesthetic tools.
Like a stylistic choice.
Right. Think about a highly polished television show. If a glitch happens there, it breaks the immersion.
Yeah, it reminds you that you are just watching a TV show.
Exactly. If you're watching a pristine HBO drama and the screen suddenly pixelates and cuts to black, you don't think a monster attacked the camera crew.
Right, I'm just thinking my Wi-Fi router died again.
Exactly. But in user-generated content, the glitch actually enhances the immersion.
It blurs the fourth wall.
Yes. By having the stream physically break down during the witch's attack, it implies her power extends beyond the narrative reality.
It bleeds into our reality, or at least the technical reality of the broadcast.
She's corrupting the data. She's literally breaking the world.
It's the exact same psychological trick used in the Blair Witch Project.
Or any modern found footage horror, really.
Right. It makes her seem omnipotent. The producer, the people who are supposed to be in absolute control of this reality, are screaming in terror.
And they are muting the mics to hide the violence.
It is such a brilliant way to establish a new monster.
Yeah, it really is.
But the chaos the witch brings, it doesn't just stop at the main event. It seems to be a symptom of a much larger disease infecting the whole show.
The structural integrity of the entire roster is basically collapsing.
Yeah, the chaos trickles all the way down to the mid-card. It's tearing apart existing loyalties and factions left and right.
Now, for those unfamiliar with the term, the mid-card refers to the supporting cast.
Right, the matches and storylines that happen before the main event.
And right now in this universe, the mid-card is a total war zone.
Complete war zone. Let's look at the tragic storyline of Iggy, for example.
Okay, what's happening with Iggy?
Well, Iggy is scheduled for this massive championship match against a character named Alien, and it's for the Metal Mega XS title. It's a huge career opportunity for him.
A classic pursuit of glory storyline.
Exactly. But then, a character named Brain Elephant violently attacks Iggy's family.
His faction members, Larry and Lemmy.
Right, so Iggy makes this really devastating choice. He approaches management, and he willingly cancels his own championship match.
Wow.
Yeah, he gives up the title shot to go defend his family.
That sets up a really classic face turn right in the middle of a dense mid-card.
Okay, another quick definition for the listeners. A face turn is when a character goes from being a villain to a hero, a babyface.
Right.
So Iggy gives up the ultimate prize. He goes out to fight Brain Elephant to save his friends. And what happens?
He gets ambushed.
He gets completely ambushed.
Right.
But not by Brain Elephant.
Yeah.
By completely different character named Brain Elephant twice.
A bait and switch?
Yes. So he loses the title shot, and he still gets beaten down. I mean, he's basically the action hero who gives up the briefcase of cash to save his friends from the warehouse.
Right.
But he still gets blindsided in the end anyway. It's practically Shakespearean.
It operates on a very fundamental storytelling level. That loyalty versus ambition trope is universal.
We've seen it a million times, but it always works.
Because Iggy's choice humanizes him instantly. The audience wants him to succeed even more now because they know his moral compass points in the right direction.
He values his chosen family over personal glory.
Which makes his defeat sting that much more.
It really does. And look at what this does for the villains in the story.
Brain Elephant and Brain Elephant twice.
Right. They aren't interested in titles or belts. They are just interested in pure destruction.
They represent the unstoppable monster archetype.
Exactly. Because if the most loyal, self-sacrificing hero can't stop them, the audience is left wondering, well, who possibly can?
And this thematic grouping of characters, the monsters running loose, the heroes failing, it's happening all over the transcript.
It's a complete systemic failure.
Right.
The inmates are truly running the asylum.
Give us some other examples from the mid-card.
Okay, well, you got a character named Unihorse.
Unihorse, got it.
Yeah, and Unihorse is aggressively demanding a Metal Admin title match against Wendy.
Which I assume does not go smoothly.
No, it leads to a massive, chaotic brawl.
Of course.
And then over in another corner of the universe, you have this faction consisting of Mouse, Penguin, and Penguin Jr.
A formidable trio, clearly.
Obviously.
Yeah.
And they violently team up to completely destroy a character named Lion.
So everywhere you look, factions are tearing each other apart.
Exactly. And on top of that, you have the witch breaking the actual broadcast.
So the people in charge of the show are backed into an absolute corner.
Completely. When a narrative descends into this level of chaos, you desperately need an authority figure.
Right. Someone to attempt to impose order, even if they ultimately fail.
And the transcripts focus heavily on that figure, the general manager.
Sometimes referred to as Bear or the Dutch mayor.
Yeah, the naming conventions are just wildly fluid.
It adds to the charm.
It really does. But reading through these segments, honestly, you just feel exhausted for this guy.
Because he's just constantly putting out fires.
The text is just management constantly screaming for order. It's just enough, relax, get out.
He's dealing with the muted mics, the glitching.
Right, and he's trying to physically separate these brawling digital avatars. He has completely lost control of the roster.
Well, authority in this kind of storytelling is always a fragile illusion anyway.
What do you mean by that?
The general manager only has power as long as the roster agrees to respect the rules of the show.
Right, the social contract of the wrestling promotion.
Exactly. Once they stop respecting the rules, the GM is just a guy in a suit yelling at monsters.
So because he has no real power left, the general manager resorts to desperate measures.
Ultimatum matches.
Yes. 2 massive feuds have been boiling over for weeks.
Which ones?
First, you have Gorilla versus Nightmare.
Okay.
And then you have the returning and previously banned Roy against Chromie Cat.
Also known as Kroby.
Right, Kroby. So management is so entirely fed up that he just throws out the standard rulebook.
He goes nuclear.
He does.
Yeah.
He books both of these as last man standing matches.
So the only way to win is to beat your opponent so badly they cannot answer a referee's 10 count to get back to their feet.
Exactly. It's brutal. But he adds an even more brutal stipulation on top of that.
The loser leaves stipulation.
Yes. The loser of these matches gets permanently banned or suspended from the show. If you lose, you are gone. End of story.
It is the ultimate consequence in this universe.
Okay, but I have to push back on this management strategy, just from a purely creative writing standpoint.
Okay, let's hear it.
I hear the logic, right? Raise the stakes. But I just don't buy it.
Why not?
If you fire half your cast right before a 3-month hiatus, who is left for the audience to care about when you come back in November?
I see your point.
It feels like they are burning the house down just to clean the living room. Doesn't booking so many of these loser leaves matches just write the creators into a massive corner?
On the surface, I agree. It seems incredibly counterintuitive to shrink your cast when you are trying to build a massive digital universe.
Right. It's like a substitute teacher handing out expulsions to a classroom they can't control because they don't know what else to do.
But if we analyze this as a season finale booking strategy,
Okay.
it's actually a masterstroke of long-term planning.
Really? Explain that to me, because right now it just looks like panic.
Think about the timeline we established earlier. They are going into a long hiatus until November or December.
Right. A solid 3 or 4 months.
So going into that gap with 20 unresolved, chaotic, intersecting storylines, it's just too messy.
You think the audience won't remember where everything left off?
Exactly. The audience will forget the nuances. Who attacked who is allied with who.
Okay, that's fair.
So the loser leaves matches act as a narrative reset. They are taking out the load-bearing pillars of their own story on purpose.
A controlled demolition.
Exactly that. By setting these specific high stakes, the structure collapses inward, neatly.
Instead of falling outward into messy, unresolved cliffhangers everywhere.
Right. It writes characters off the show in a highly dramatic way, which, delivers maximum payoff and shock value for the fans right now.
But strategically, it cleans up the board.
Yes, it completely streamlines the roster. So when Season 2 and Season 3 resume in the winter, the universe will be significantly less cluttered.
It gives them a clean slate, basically.
It allows the creators to introduce completely new characters or hyper-focus on the survivors of this purge.
The expulsions aren't a mistake. They're a necessary forest fire to allow for new growth next season.
That is a perfect analogy, yes.
Wow. Okay, that reframes it completely for me. You really do need fewer moving parts when you reboot the machine after a long winter break.
You have to simplify to grow.
So every single piece we've discussed today, the meta announcements of the hiatus, the horrifying glitches of the witch, the desperate expulsions by the Bear general manager, they all serve that ultimate goal.
Reset the board while leaving a lasting, violent impression on the audience.
It really is impressive. What Speak the Show and the Spring 2 7832 podcast offer is just a masterclass in utilizing digital chaos.
They are telling highly invested, serialized stories using tools that traditional media would consider, well, errors.
Right, mistakes to be edited out.
But here, they are foundational to the plot.
And I think that's why this matters so much to anyone who consumes or creates content today. Storytelling is evolving at lightning speed.
Faster than traditional studios can keep up with.
Absolutely. If you are exhausted by the polished, algorithm-friendly, perfectly lit content on your feeds, this is the antidote.
Raw.
The unpolished, glitchy, chaotic nature of these transcripts. The muted mics, the broken sentences, the lag. It isn't a bug in the system.
It's a feature of modern digital theater.
Exactly. It provides a level of authenticity and unpredictability that a network-approved script simply cannot replicate.
It demands active engagement from the viewer.
Right, you aren't just sitting back and watching a story happen.
You are translating it. You are surviving it alongside the characters. And you are constantly interpreting the glitches to figure out what is real and what isn't.
Which leaves us with a final and honestly a somewhat unsettling thought to mull over.
I'm ready. Lay it on me.
As entertainment becomes increasingly user-generated, decentralized, and so reliant on these digital avatars, the line between the character and the creator is getting razor thin.
It's almost non-existent in some spaces.
Right. So when a microphone cuts out or a stream lags during a vicious attack in a show, we're forced to ask ourselves a question.
Which is?
Will the line between a legitimate technical glitch and a scripted narrative beat eventually disappear entirely?
That is a fascinating thought.
And when we reach an area where those glitches can be flawlessly manufactured by AI, just to manipulate our emotions and our immersion, how will we ever know what's real?
The scary part is we might not.
Do we even care, or do we just enjoy being part of the simulation at that point?
I think as long as the story is good, people will willingly let themselves be manipulated.
I think you're right. Because the most memorable stories aren't the ones that build a perfect, comforting house for you to just sit in.
No, they're the ones that lock you inside and set the blueprint on fire.
Perfectly said. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the digital chaos. We'll see you next time.